So now we have the what I call price point segments. There's three that I'll mention, and there's various aberrations and combinations and permutations of those three. Um, every place has to play the cards that they're dealt, so every place is going to be slightly different as far as within these three philosophies, but they'll fit some into any given one of them. One is as cheap as absolutely possible. This is the price point concept of the one steam and gas show that I was referring to earlier. Of we're not losing money. Um, everything's already paid for. There's no external expenses as far as a mortgage, property acquisition, anything like that, and everything's ticking along fairly fine. There's a lot of railroad museums that are in this position. They've been in the business for 50, 60, 80 years, and they're well established. That doesn't mean they're financially lucrative, but they're well established. They've been doing it for a while. There's not necessarily any outstanding debts. It's just a matter of keeping things going as it is. For those, again, the cheapest possible method would be, say, your base price considering most of your expenses plus, say, 3 to 10% over top of that, and divided by what your expected ridership would be, and there you go, there's your ticket value. The reason for doing it this way is to get as many people through your gates as possible. This is especially valuable if you're a little middle of nowhere entity and trying to get people to come out to your establishment. If there's nothing else nearby and your ticket prices are too high, your revenue is going to be limited by the people that really, really, really want to go and see it. And if you're just the average road museum, that's not going to be that great. So you can increase your revenue by decreasing your ticket prices, drawing more people to your, I won't say absurd location, because they're usually not absurd locations. It's just away from other entities that will draw a crowd. Um, and you kind of got to play that by ear. But one group that I was very, very, I won't say intimately familiar with, but I was working with them. They intentionally kept their ticket prices below $10. And everybody was going, well, you can get more. Yeah, but we want people through here. We want to see, you know, two parents and 8 kids, including the cousins. Come on out, come on out, ride the train, because they wanted people to experience it, and this gets on to youth experience and getting involved, is because the child has to see the train and be enamored by it to want to be involved with it as an adult, or even as a teenager or growing up with it. So the easiest way to get kids involved is to make it economic for the parent to be involved. And so if you're, even if you're close to a tourist attraction, like I was saying, Wisconsin Dells area with Mid-Continent, the old Sacramento with the California State Road Museum, Chicago area with IRM, you want to get people there. And if you get them on the property and they find something that they like, they're likely going to show up again. But getting them onto the property is what's the important part. And if you can make it, even $10 cheaper to bring the family, that will be an incentive to bring the family. Rather than, like we were saying with the steam and gas show, dad shows up, mom goes shopping, then 2 kids go off to a water park. It's just that kind of economics. And so the more family friendly you make it, the more economically family friendly you make it, the more kids will get involved, and the more you'll have a volunteer base in the future, because the kids will want to be involved. Anybody that's operated trains is daddy, can we go again? Or mommy, can we go again? Or somebody crying because they have to leave, the train ride's over. And so it's just this degree of attraction that you want to manifest. And so keeping your ticket prices as low as possible will manifest that. And you'll get the other people too. You'll get, like I said, the cousins that, why not? But come on along, let's have some fun. Family fun time. They're not that interested, but they might find something that they are interested in there too. Even if they're not interested in the train ride itself, there's usually history and shops and things like that associated with any organization that may actually be something up that person's alley that they didn't really consider, because to them it's just a train ride. until they actually see it. So that's one consideration. The other end of the thing is how much can we drag out of each person? How much will my local area support? And that's the opposite end of the spectrum. That's the we want to generate as much revenue. If we lose some passengers, okay, fine. We'll make up for revenue from other people. That's a thought. How well that works is it's very area dependent, because if you have an affluent area, sure, fine, you'll get fewer people. If you're doing it as a part of special events like a dinner train service or a first class service, something like that, that kind of splits the baby best of both worlds. You'll have the affluent, let's have a 3, 4, 5 course meal while we trundle along on the train. As for the dinner crowd, for the people of wealth and fame, but you'll also have during the day the just regular train service for the average family. A lot of places do that kind of split service, or have, if they're having a dinner train that even they only run one trip that day, things like that. So you can mix things up too, but the opposite end of make it as cheap as possible is to make it as high of a price as the market will stand. And again, that's variable by area, and it can function. I'm not a personal advocate for that because I want to get people in. I'm more of the come on, let's play. Get the child up in the cab, have him watch you oiling the engine, these things, and answer their questions, because that's how you get future volunteers. That's how you get a future in the entity. If you're just, my train set, I'm Mr. Stuffy, that's a limiting factor. So just saying, I'm just putting that out there. The third concept is somewhat of a split the difference. It's I want to be cheaper than my competitors as far as for your amusement dollar, because this is especially near large cities or amusement destinations. I want to be cheaper than my competitors, but I don't want to be the absolute cheapest around. And in some ways, that's sort of a split the baby kind of thing. But in others, it's I know there's only a certain amount of people that are going to come to this area. If I can if I can garner some of them from other attractions by being the cheapest one to go to, for somebody that already did 8 things today, and Junior wants to ride the train. Okay, fine. Then you ride the train. If it's again too expensive, they're not going to consider it. If you can get more than being just totally on the cheap end. So there's that consideration too as far as price point is concerned. And various groups will follow various philosophies dealing with each one of them. They might look at their competitor fairly nearby and say, well, I can be cheaper than this other river museum or this other attraction, but I don't have to be, go bowling cheap. So it's all a matter of consideration. And I'll draw some conclusions in a moment.